We got cheeks, we got smiles out.
Full of sweet tarts.
Yep.
Every time.
My cheeks are nice and
Cheeks
puckered
are-
up.
Cheek Tars, welcome to the Effin' Movie Podcast! I'm your host today, Dylan Camacho. Today with me is, of course, the same three people you keep seeing in all of these videos. You know who these are.
We never leave.
Why am I introducing everybody? Nathan, Mason, Price, welcome, everybody. Why are they welcome? This is the show.
Actually, I'm somebody different. I got a chain on this.
Shut up, Price!
Came from the west side of town.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm Pete Bellington now.
What? Oh, why do
You
you
know,
Wellington.
if you had like a little thing with vampire teeth on them, it'd be appropriate.
Yeah, that would be. You could
A
be
vial of blood.
right.
If it did, I would take it and I'd throw it as far away from it as I
No.
could. I would.
All right.
I would.
I do think it's a terrible Mr. T cosplay, but we're not here to talk about that, guys. Go check out Tropic Thunder for all of those comments.
I pity the fool.
What are we talking about today?
We are talking about What We Do in the Shadows, the New Zealand documentary about local vampires.
So the version that I watched, before we get off on this,
Uh-huh.
was it in another another language, like the subtitles and the titles and everything? No? Okay, well, the version I watched was like all in German or something.
It wasn't like.
But they were speaking English.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
They were
Okay.
speaking English, but like when it had like, if it was had a setting, like that white font,
Yeah.
it was in some other language.
Just hard-coded German subs, probably.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, well,
Oh well.
I didn't watch that. I watched the
You
very-
get what you pay for.
For the record, this was one of the most pirated movies in 2014.
Really?
Yeah, I swear.
Which is so weird.
I
'cause
read
it's-
it, yeah.
Trivia guy.
Yeah, well, no,
Ah.
I just thought it was ironic because, like, I remember hearing about this movie, but I was like, I wouldn't watch that. Like, back then.
Yeah.
Like,
That's a
this
hint.
sounds weird.
That's a hint for you viewers if you're paying close attention, but we won't spoil that now.
What?
Alright, well, anyways.
Anyway, yeah. So what's this movie about? Yeah, I mean, obviously mentioned New Zealand documentary, but that kind of sums it up, yeah. We don't really need to dig
For the
deeper
most
than
part, I mean, it's like a
Take it somewhere,
office
guy.
style of shooting.
Mock-
Yeah,
Mockumentary.
very mockumentary.
Mockumentary. It's following. Mostly, it's following kind of three main vampires. There's the Nosferatu-looking vampire who. Peter. Right?
Peter,
That
yeah.
was his name was Peter.
Yeah.
He, he's in this, but not for too long. And then also he ends up creating like the younger vampire.
Kevin.
Yeah.
Is it
I
Kevin?
think.
I thought it was Nick. I don't care.
Kevin, yeah. It's Kevin.
I think
Sure.
it's Kevin.
Yeah.
The important one is the other guy, his friend.
Stu?
Oh, Stu's the best.
Yeah.
Love
Stu
Stu.
was
great.
incredible.
I feel like we need to get these names right because I don't know if any of.
No,
I remember
Stu and
my-
Kevin is right.
Stu was definitely
My
right.
favorite
Stu.
character was
Maybe.
like Vladimir.
Oh, Vladimir,
Yeah, the one
yeah.
that didn't like the beast or whatever. He
Yeah.
was probably the best one.
The one who's
Vlad the
basically
Impaler.
Vlad the Impaler.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway,
the Impaler.
that's the movie. It's about these three vampires, basically, who are just living life. They're from another time, and that's basically where all the jokes come from.
Yeah.
And to tee off this discussion, if I was writing a 5-paragraph essay about this is my thesis right here. Yeah, it's always 5 paragraphs. You got your intro, you got your 3 body paragraphs, then you got your conclusion. This is my thesis and my intro
How
paragraph.
about that?
So this is a comedy, right? And comedies are meant to make you laugh.
Mm-hmm.
This movie did not elicit a laugh from me. So therefore,
Did he take my thesis
I
for
don't
every
think it's
comedy
a
that he's
comedy
ever made me
laugh.
watch? Right.
Yeah.
I know, this is where I'm ready. I'm ready for your hatred. I embrace it.
Like,
No, I think the only thing I'm upset about is that that's just my thesis, and that's
So-
plagiarism.
so
You would
you're-
fail that essay.
so you don't like it either?
Well, no. What I'm saying is
Oh.
that my point of view on comedies has always been that I'm like a comedy's job is to make you laugh, which is why I've always notoriously ripped your comedies to bits.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have a good sense of humor.
Foxcatcher was the worst comedy I've ever seen.
Not one laugh, not one chuckle.
Zero laughs, zero chuckles.
But more bullets than laughs in that movie.
Yeah.
But honestly, the only time that I felt like my mouth being tugged at the sides, like you should at least smile at this point, was
Tell me it was the werewolves,
when-
not swearwolves flying.
no, it was.
One of the best lines.
Yeah.
The little-
Are you all done?
No,
Can I finish?
We've got
We're
more.
laughing
We've
at
got
the
more. You go ahead. You go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was the only time I did was when Taika Waititi or whatever, he was talking about how like put some newspaper down whenever you
Yeah.
whenever you do that, and then he bites that one girl
Yeah,
and it
it's
just goes everywhere.
right.
Spewing like
That
a
part
geyser.
I did. I was like, because at that point I hadn't laughed at all, so my mouth was like, all right, we'll get halfway there. Maybe one will come later.
You had one excerpt from like no.
I think like one of the best lines besides the
Yeah,
we're
werewolves,
werewolves,
not
not swearwolves, was when Vlad the Poker or whatever was like,
Oh yeah.
he was talking about like why they like virgins so much, and he's like, it's like if you eat a sandwich, but you don't want a sandwich that someone's already fucked.
Yeah.
Like, and he just deadpan. I mean,
Right.
I think it was like if you were gonna eat a sandwich, you would just feel better knowing that it hadn't already
Someone
been
hadn't
fucked.
fucked.
Yeah, had somebody already fucked it already. Yeah, no, that.
Yeah.
There's a couple, like, overall, I would say this isn't a movie that made me laugh a lot, but it had moments that I enjoyed out of it. Like,
moments is a good way to put it.
it did tend to be one-liners overall. Like, as far as the laugh parts of it, it was mostly like, yeah, the werewolves not werewolves part. Like, I audibly laughed at that one. That was the peak of humor for me on that one. The not fucking part was fine. There's the subtle one where they're talking on, like, Stu's showing him, like, Facebook and, like, all the vampires,
Yeah.
right? And he's like, yeah, we could look at the pictures, or we could do that, we could even poke them, and then, like, Vlad, you know, was
Yeah, he's like,
yes,
like,
do that. Yeah. Like, just some of the subtle stuff there was good.
Yeah.
I think there's one scene where, like, the Taika Waititi vampire puts, like, his girlfriend's picture on it, and then you see, like, the casket just, like, rocking on it.
Yeah.
Like, that one I was like, yeah, I mean, that's a little funny,
Like,
overall, but...
I was telling Price, this movie reminds me of like Reno 911, the way that it's styled.
Yeah.
And the way that like
that's a good point.
The Office is
see
just
that.
like the same way, where you have like some random garbage happening in the background, and you have like somebody just delivering like a one-liner, and then like you see it in the background, like, you know.
I'll counter with you that there's a big difference between The Office and this, though. And that is,
I
I
mean,
laugh at The Office.
Well,
The
yeah, not
Office
one for
ran
one,
for 6 years, and this didn't. I mean, like, I just think that it took a few things from Reno 911
So
and The Office.
there is also the TV show.
I've watched it.
What do you
First
think of
season.
that?
I thought it was
Is
okay.
it
I like
similar?
some of
Like,
it.
is it?
Yes.
The comedy
Yeah.
is all the same, but the characters are a little bit more fleshed out.
Which I guess I like the characters more in the,
Yeah.
the show. Like,
Yeah.
especially the white guy, the energy vampire.
Oh,
if you
God,
wanna say
yeah,
that.
yeah,
He
yeah.
is hilarious.
Yeah.
Love his character.
Yeah.
Well, personally, I really quite enjoyed this movie, but I did watch it with a group of people, and I think with comedies, especially for me, that helps them quite a bit.
That was the
Yeah.
big complaint about Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still remember that. I'm hurt.
Yeah. We're
Like,
fine.
to be fair, that is a part of this.
Mm-hmm.
But having seen it, I am a lot more interested in watching the show too, and I'm glad to hear that you actually like the show.
I did.
better.
I'm somewhere, and not this is not to review the show overall, but I think that I found the movie pound for pound a little bit more funnier than what I generally find the show. The show, it kind of has the same thing. Moments that will get you, but overall it's never like a long bit, like big sketch that gets me. But I think that says more to Taika's directing style that I've realized TV versus his movie stuff is that I like him in short condensed stuff where it's not long dragged out. Like some of, and to compare it to with the show again, it's one of those things where when you have these long strung out jokes, like sometimes it works for sitcoms, sometimes if you like you don't find it funny, it's just annoying, right? Like seeing the recurring bit coming up for that. That's kind of how I felt with like in the comparison. I like the movie more for its comedy compared because it was short and concise and it was all inclusive. I didn't have to sit there and like watch like a whole bunch of episodes or see this as a returning gag. I do think he's one of those ones who you just give him something to run with, and it's definitely evolved past it because I compare this to like let's say like Thor Ragnarok or something, or even Jojo Rabbit. Like Jojo Rabbit, which is still like a pretty serious, and intense movie at times. Like it has its humor beats and moments though, and that's just Taika's style. Like he's like it's always through at least somewhat of a comedic lens by some form of it.
Yeah, that movie gets pretty dang heavy.
Yeah, super heavy. Like oh man, #1 film for this whole podcast of last year, right next to Parasite.
No. Parasite
Yes.
#1.
I would put Jojo Rabbit in front of
Oh,
Parasite.
It's a
Parasite
coin flip.
#1, Uncut Gems #2.
Nah.
No, I haven't seen it.
Still haven't seen it.
You haven't seen Uncut Gems?
Not these two.
Yeah, we ain't
I
start.
kind of want to pick that.
Well, you aren't because we're taking a break after this season. But anyways, yeah. So off the track on that. I mean, other things that we liked or disliked about it.
I think that the group meshed really well together. The way that they introduced all of the characters, like was Nick or something was like the youngest vampire before they had made Kevin.
Yeah.
I can't remember what his name
Or
was.
no, it was
No.
not Vlad, not that. It was
Vlad was like the oldest.
Vlad's the Impaler.
He was
and
from the
Taika's
medieval time.
character.
No, the Nosferatu Peter is over 8,000 years.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
the oldest. Sorry, and then it goes Vlad. Then
Peter, Vlad,
Um,
Taika, and then the other guy. 180.
Viago.
Viago. Yeah,
Viago,
that's
yeah.
Taika's. But who was the?
And
Deacon. That's who I'm
Deacon.
thinking. Yeah, Deacon and
was
and
funny
Kevin
right
were
off the bat.
funny.
He was like the young rebellious one. I think that they introduced them all pretty funny. Like whenever he was talking about, you're supposed to do the dishes, and then they just got in each other's faces like that. That part was kind of funny. It was just.
That little dry joke where they said, like, you never do the bloody dishes, and he goes over to the dishes, and they're actually bloody.
There's
and like,
blood everywhere.
I mean, come on.
There's
That's all right,
There's
yeah.
a lot of little touches that I find.
That's
funny.
all it is. It's
Yeah.
just little
It's just
It
little,
is.
and that's the kind of humor that this thing was going for, because
Right.
even like the chore wheel looked like it had been like drawn in crayon.
Yeah.
and never moved.
Yeah.
Like it was.
It hasn't moved for what, 18 years or
It's
something.
like 5 years.
Yeah, it was a handful of years at the point. Like, it hasn't moved in years. Like,
Yeah, and like I don't know, the subtlety of like Peter's character, which never did anything. He was
Yeah.
just like the grandfather of the group that never came out or anything.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that this movie, for what it was trying to do, did it pretty well. I just don't exactly know what that was.
Yeah.
It's just like this. It was definitely a comedy. I definitely laughed.
It's a slice of life story.
Oh, okay, sure.
and that's kind of where we draw. That's
over
where
and over life.
this movie's genre gets a little sticky because clearly, like, it's mockumentary, like that's through and through. But I mean, it's a comedy that doesn't super lean into the comedy sticks, which you can see where Price is gonna have the biggest problem with that. I'm familiar with, like, if you're familiar with Taika at this point, like if you've seen again like Jojo Rabbit, not Parasite, blah, Thor Ragnarok, a couple of his other films, you have an idea of like his sense of humor, especially if you've like seen this content. So seeing it, that's going to be a comedy that's not like full 100% comedy. Like it's not going to do the comedy beats or stories where it's just the jokes are written and then they write the plot. Like this is a plot and then they put jokes in it throughout. It's that reverse style of it, which I kind of tend to favor more. But at the same time, you're right. It's only moments. It's never like there's never a great build of jokes. There's never times I was like rolling or dying laughing or anything, other than like the swirls, not swirls, but just that one was just really funny. That just tickled
I don't know
me.
why that landed so well.
I don't know.
That made me actually laugh.
Hearing them just say
Because they were
like,
such
no,
nice
don't do that.
guys.
Yeah, and then like all the werewolves were
Nice
super
guys.
nice dudes. Like, yeah,
They were just trying to pick a fight with him for no reason.
right. But yeah, I would say once you get past those little moments, I did find myself going in and out of the movie in between those moments. Like, if you sat there and if you asked me, like, all right, so in between these moments, what was the movie like? I was just like, I don't know, Taika had like a 90-year-old girlfriend. Well, not girlfriend, like they did never meet up. And it works out in the end, and I'm like, I guess that's kind of sweet, which I did think it was pretty sweet, but I'm like, that's not what I want out of a comedy, though, Like, I don't want to come in here for the feel-goods, like, not necessarily in that way. Like, feel good for humor, but not necessarily like, oh, this is actually a pretty sweet little love vampire story that's kind of funny at the end.
I feel like it was going for a different style of humor.
Yeah.
It was just that, like, very awkward sort of thing where it's very self-aware the whole time that they're like, we're being filmed.
Right.
And we're a little bit awkward
Kinda
about
awkward,
being
yeah.
filmed. And
Yeah.
it's just a different approach.
Yeah, it was definitely a different style, which did not do badly. I think it did it pretty darn well. It was just, like, whenever you had suggested this movie, I didn't know what it was, but going into it blindly, I think, was that much more fun.
Yeah.
Well, I went into it blindly too.
Yeah, you hadn't
Like-
watched it either.
Yeah, I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
All I knew is that Rachel had suggested it.
Shout out to
many,
Rachel.
many times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fan of the show. She's watching this video right now.
Oh, I'm sure.
Probably.
I just don't know why I really wasn't a fan, because I've watched Office so many times, I've watched Parks and Rec so many times, I feel like it's like Parks and Rec is a little bit more like out there kind of humor, like it's
Yeah.
very in your face, whereas The Office, especially the earlier stuff, is like a lot more subtle.
Yeah.
And I don't know why these jokes didn't land for me. I was bored the whole movie.
There's one more that I had written down that I had to look.
I had one more too. You want to go ahead and grab
Yeah,
that
I'll
one
go ahead
first?
and
Yeah,
grab
you go
it.
first.
So at the very end, after like the werewolves had attacked, I guess it was Stu.
Yeah.
It was
The newscaster, you saw like the news channel, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we finally found the dogs that were involved, and here's one of them," and it just shows this like border collie, and he's like, "He'll be put down, he will be punished," and then it just goes. Like, it just zooms in on his face. For some reason, it was hilarious.
The cop talking to him on the way up, it was just like, oh, yeah, why would you do something like that? Just like, that one.
He's like walking up to him and he's like, oh, he's just raring to go again.
Yeah. No, yeah, that I'm glad you brought it up because that was like one of two jokes I had in mind with it. But no, the other one that I thought like kind of came through just as like the main plot thing was when so Kevin, like the newest vampire, was just going, I'm a vampire, and then he bumps into, I'm a vampire hunter. Oh yeah, sure you are.
Sure you are.
And then later, like that vampire hunter kills Peter, and it's like, why would you tell? This is why you don't tell everybody that. Just that little plot device moving forward, I was like, I mean, that's kind of good. Like, and that's kind of, again, that goes back to like the plot was driving.
This movie
the
had no rules. I mean, it didn't play by any textbook. It was just like it didn't have anything to lose. Like there was no danger ever, really.
Right.
Like even when Peter died, you were like,
Yeah, this like,
yeah,
well, Peter died.
So talking about The Office too, I feel like I would liken this more to the British Office than to the American Office.
I agree.
Like I think you could find a lot more common ground there because it's much more
It's
that
more dry.
like more dry, more like trying to get you a little cringed.
Right.
And yeah, to me, this was just like an exploration in taking like the concept of a mockumentary, the concept of modern vampires, and just putting them together.
Mm-hmm.
And like literally taking iconic vampires from history, like
Right.
that.
Mhm.
They like Nosferatu is like the first vampire
Right,
to ever
cinema
be
vampire,
in a,
right.
And they're just like, yeah, definitely we're gonna have Nosferatu in
Right.
here.
Then Vlad the Impaler, like the little nods there. I thought that was fun in its own cheeky way, but it does have that European sense of humor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like again, it's more British Office than American Office on that.
Mm-hmm.
But let's get into the shape of this movie, guys. I want to see where we've landed on fat, thick. Damn it, every time. So, fat, thin, perfectly fit. There we go.
That's it.
That's
I'm
fine.
not helping you.
All right, so yeah, you know how this goes. Fat movie runs way longer than it should be. Thin movie, I kind of wish you had more from it. Perfectly fit. Runtime matches the content. Price, go ahead.
I think it's fit. I mean, I didn't enjoy it, but I mean, it's still fit. It's only like an hour. It's an hour and 25 minutes.
Yeah.
32 seconds if you want to get really specific. Don't hold me to it, but I'm pretty sure it's around that.
He was like, I wish those 32 seconds were gone, too.
But no, I mean, I felt like it was paced well. I don't know. It's fit.
I think it's mostly fit. The runtime's solid, but some of the... I'm trying to think of where it loses me. I guess where it kind of introduces, like, the familiar parts and they're getting those, like, getting the whole eating process going. Before it ever actually gets people into the mansion, there's a little bit there where I just feel like it dragged there. And then maybe some part towards the end, and I'm not really sure where. So it's, like, a little chubby to me. Like, the runtime is good, but there are just moments where I'm like, oh, I would take that out because it just feels like it's just fluffing the movie, and it's like the joke didn't land for me, which again for me I've always said comedies, I'm like I would just have a highlight series of things, which is why I don't edit comedies. Don't let me edit it.
like
It's gonna be 20 minutes.
Talladega Nights, like highlights at the very end.
Right,
all
right.
Of those like interview, just
That is legit how I would do that, which is why I'm not the movie
One-liners.
editor. Yeah, exactly.
the whole way.
I would say it's fit. At the same time, I would be interested in seeing more. But lucky for me, there is a TV show that I can watch about it. So
Yeah.
I will probably start watching that because I actually rather like the movie. Again, I think part of it could just be due to the fact that I watched it with other people. Because with comedies, that's a big part for me.
Herd laughs are a big thing. So
Yeah. So yeah, I mean it's fit. It's not. It didn't. I mean, every joke didn't land with me. Some of the like stew, I was not that psyched about. Most of the time.
Stew was boring
Those other
altogether.
three people
Still, you
loved
didn't
him.
know until the
There you
camera
go.
zoomed in on his face,
Right.
and that was the funny part. Like that was the only.
Like
thing
it was
Stu ever
always
had.
just him, just kind of standing there awkwardly.
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
red face. Like they call him like red face all the time.
His little red
Because
cheeks.
red
You know,
cheeks.
I don't think it was funny while I was watching it, but as they were talking about the like, no, Stu, speak up. He's like, I'm Stu. I work at
Yeah.
Nobody can hear you,
They
Stu.
still
Nobody can
can't
hear
hear
you,
you,
Stu. Like, I didn't find it funny then, but thinking back, I'm like, that's kind of funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Anyway.
I think this movie is very fit. Like I said earlier, it has no rules. It has no like standard thing that it's trying to go by. So it's halfway through the movie, they still hadn't really established a plot. They still hadn't established like a danger or issues. I mean, like the vampire hunter was even a joke. Like that wasn't even a serious thing.
You can't even call it like a conflict point.
No,
Like, they just
like
ran right
if
over
anything,
it.
I guess Stu being like torn apart by the werewolves was a big thing. But like.
Yeah.
That's like it didn't
almost a
tug
movie.
on my heartstrings, so I was like,
the
Stu's
closest
done.
moments to danger were the police coming into their house
Yeah.
and the werewolves
tearing
Tearing
them
them
apart. I forgot about the police.
I
Yeah,
take it
that
back. The
part
police
was-
pointing at the lack of fire alarms.
Yeah.
Look at that. And then they're like, oh, this. And he's like, no, not that. This over here.
Yeah.
You've got
This is
flammable
flammable.
liquid with a
Underneath
lantern on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this movie was very fit. I just, like I said earlier, I don't know what direction it wanted to end at.
Yeah.
I think it got there. I don't know. So.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, they're in production of making, I can't remember the sequel to this movie, but it's called Stew something, or like Werewolves something, and it's all about stew.
Oh, I never.
I kid you not. I mean,
Yeah.
it's at least it's been talked about. I don't know if it's in production yet.
Right.
It's-
Trivia man.
I had to because I didn't know what else to say about this movie besides like quoting some one-liners like Tim and Eric. I don't.
Oh,
Yeah.
It is what it
there's
is.
a comedy.
He just picked. He picked the 2 or 3 funny
Yeah,
moments from
somebody's
it.
10.
Solid 9 right there. Solid 9
No,
right there.
no,
I don't know who gave it a 9. I only remember somebody gave it a 10, and everybody
Yeah.
else went a lot lower.
I don't remember
A lot
anybody.
lower.
Nobody smacked that button, so I don't remember that.
The
happening.
button wasn't in existence.
It's not
yet.
official
button
until you
was-
smack that button.
That's not true.
I see.
Yeah,
It's not
it's-
true. Go watch that review again.
My studio, my rules.
this isn't.
Not for long.
We'll get there.
Not for long.
Well,
Alright.
hey, no spoilers, guys. They gotta watch all.
Yeah,
the
no
video.
spoilers. Trivia, man.
All right, all right. Let's go to the scores, guys. Mason, you lead the way, buddy.
Honestly, I wasn't sure between a 7.5 and an 8. I think I'm gonna land at a 7.5 just because, like, for me, this movie is almost a little bit too dark. It wasn't a comedy that I would sit there and really shout to everyone. It was funny, and I'm glad I watched it. I watched it like on my laptop in my room on my bed, like while Katie was watching something else, and I had headphones on. And just the audible chuckles that she was hearing every so often is what's really trying to push me to that 8. But I think it was just subtle enough where I was like, all right, that was a pretty good story. Yeah, it was a pretty good story, but that's it. I just landed at 7.5.
So for me, comedies don't always really go all that high.
I've tried.
This one I did enjoy, and I enjoyed enough that I want more. Now, like you said, it's not really the kind of movie that I know who I would even suggest it to. It is something that I think is going to be like funny things to reference for those in the know, but I don't think I would really be like shouting out like, "Hey, you've got to see this."
This is groundbreaking.
But if
Right.
you happen to have seen it, like, yeah, we can have some chuckles with each other around it. So that's nice. For me, it's going to be landing at a solid 7. I enjoyed it. I want more. I will be getting more because I'm going to go watch the show. I don't watch a lot of shows, but I at least want
He
to get
does.
a taste of this
I've
thing.
tried.
He didn't watch movies for like 10 or 15 years either.
Isn't it like an HBO show?
Yeah, Hulu.
Hulu.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, it's on Hulu.
Definitely Hulu.
Yeah. Darn, Nathan, you took my score. So, all right, I'm gonna land at a 7 as well. I was actually leaning closer to a 6.5 before this conversation. I didn't think it like when I remember thinking when I was watching it, like I had less laughs overall, but darn it, if it's not one of those things where you talk about it afterwards, and you're like,
Yeah.
that's a little funny, isn't it? All right, like it's kind of those boomerang laughs that kind of pushed it up to a 7 for me. There's overall, it did feel like a slow burn at times, and some of the characters weren't always the most engaging. And I think for me, that's kind of where I had the most struggle with the film. Like Taika's character has always been pretty like enjoyable overall, but like Kevin, I could care less about. Deacon, I was like, Peter, like being Nosferatu is pretty sweet. Like I kind of love that, even if he's really only a plot device for the whole thing.
He's just a body.
Right? Yeah.
Does he even say anything?
He doesn't.
No, he just
Yeah.
nods and just kind of and just sits there with teeth. But yeah,
Don't
yeah,
you beat my dog.
yeah. You just kick him.
I will
That's what I do.
smother this thing with love.
Just hit him all the time.
Yeah, that's fine. He loves me still. Anyway, so I'm gonna land on a 7. This movie has its funny moments, but it's I don't know. Overall, I didn't say as a comedy, it didn't really do what I wanted out of a comedy, even if it's still
You're on camera.
not full comedy, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It was trying to do more than it needed to, so
Yeah.
yeah, 7. 7's where I land happily on this. All right, let's do that price drop a little bit.
Hit this button.
Ready to get it. All right, I'll hit it. Okay, so this is movie score came to me right after I got. No, don't eat that. What's the guesses right now?
Nope, we're not saying.
I said
anyway.
3. Dylan said 2.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Mason's good at 2 things. He's good at guessing my score and beating me in disc golf lately. So it came to me right after I got done watching the movie. Like that number came to me. I was like, I can't imagine I'm gonna change. But yeah, I'm giving this a 3. I wasn't laughing the entire time. I told you all the one or two times I like chuckled just a little bit. And just like any good 8th grader would do in my 5-paragraph essay, in my conclusion, I'm referring back to my thesis to make sure my audience remembers it.
At least make a B+ right now. At least.
B's get degrees.
Nah.
And
full of tonight.
Yeah.
It's just it wasn't for me. Like I said, comedies, like the reason Dylan always hates my comedies. Like if it doesn't make you laugh, like what else is there? Like the plot's not going to drive it along. I mean, I really doubt the character is going to be endearing enough for you to really like them a lot because they're supposed to be making you laugh and they're not. And it just didn't hit for me. So it's going to be a 3, and it's just going to be another notch in my belt of making sure I always give Nathan bad movie reviews.
So I just met up with Price earlier today, and I would have put a $10 bill on the fact that he would have given this movie an 8. This movie, he's an alien when it comes to these movies. I've never been able to figure out what he likes. And
I said as much whenever we finished watching it last night. The girls were like, "What do you think they're gonna think of the movie?" And I was like, "Well, there is no telling at all what Price is gonna think of it.
Yeah.
Like
He
it'll be
coin.
extreme,
Yeah.
but it'll be extreme on one end or the other."
Yeah.
Price doesn't believe any of the middle scores actually exist. I think.
Yeah.
Look at my reviews. I have done.
Look at your reviews on comedy.
Oh, comedy because comedies either hit or they don't. Like it's hard to get a middle ground on comedy because you're either all in or you're all out. And there's not too much. I don't know why you keep pushing that thing out. I'm not doing it. And this does it in theory checks all my boxes, and I personally don't understand why like I wasn't in it. Like because like dark humor, I like that. Like it's not shoving stuff down your throat like a lot of directors do, where it's like I don't know, in your face. And it's mockumentary style. Like I love those shows.
You still need to watch 7 Days in Hell with Andy Samberg. Andy Samberg.
I do like Andy Samberg quite a bit.
It's only like 50 minutes.
He's got a weird shaped nose. I feel him.
One thing I forgot about this movie too, and one of the other references was when Vlad the Poker learned who was it the guest of honor was going to be at that party.
Yeah.
It turned out to be the Beast, and he went ape
and
shit.
he walked out, and then he started screaming.
Right.
And then Taika Waititi's character was just like, well, we just learned that it's the Beast. And you just hear crap going on.
And then
in
it
the
just
background.
cuts to those like old paintings
With a penis coming out of its
Yeah.
belly.
Yeah.
Don't get that one.
It was so silly.
Oh boy. Anyway, guys, that's our review of What We Do in the Shadows.
What are we watching next week, Dylan?
I'm getting there. Price.
Well, hurry up.
No.
Whoa!
We've got a whole lot of stuff to talk about
Let's
here.
step back a
Whoa.
second here.
We're not even
We have just finished a 4-movie rotation.
I will push my chair back.
Ooh.
Oh, I forgot that.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
It's amateur hour on this.
Look,
I'll
I'm just
take my
familiar
chance.
because every time it's my turn, we have extra long episodes because we also then pick which.
And
ones
I asked
are
him, I
our
was like,
favorites.
why don't we just split it and we could talk more about that and then talk more about both? And they was
knock
like,
this thing out. Let's
I
knock
get
this
the
thing
long
out.
movie.
All right.
I ended them, I get the long movie.
Dylan had
All right.
Casino Royale.
Oh, man, I did have Casino.
Yeah.
I had Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Uh-huh.
Ooh.
Price had Tropic Thunder.
Ooh.
And what we just talked about,
And what we do in the
Yeesh.
what we do in the
shadows.
shadows.
Okay.
Starting with you, Dylan. Cannot pick your own, that is the rule.
All right, can't pick my own.
Mason made that rule. I think it's dumb because I picked the best
No,
movies.
you all.
Averages reflect that I picked the best movies.
That's not.
So do our viewers. They all agree.
Yeah. I don't.
Do all 10 of you agree? One can comment.
4 of those viewers are right here, and I'm going to comment and say no. But,
We have fun on this podcast.
right. Okay, so I can't pick my
Oh,
own.
Dylan gets to go first? That's dumb.
He's literally the one who picked it. Don't say I'm down. It wasn't my idea. I think it's weird to start in the middle of this whole thing.
Do you want to?
It's gonna go. No. It's gonna
I'm
go.
trying to help you.
No, see, this is the problem. All right,
You're interrupting.
Nathan, I want this edited in. The problem is why we fluff the time is because you try to stop me whenever I'm trying to build suspense on this one.
I didn't hear anything. I went somewhere else.
Per usual. Yeah, I'm gonna go Fantastic Mr. Fox on this one actually,
Alright.
which is strange.
Yeah.
Please
I'll agree.
elaborate.
I didn't expect it.
I didn't expect it either, but I mean, Tropic Thunder and What We Do in the Shadows. What We Do in the Shadows is just, like probably a closer second, but yeah, Tropic Thunder. I mean, you know my review. Go watch that one. Yeah, Fantastic Mr. Fox. Strangely enough, I didn't think I was gonna win the month for me, but there you go. Nathan.
I guess I'll go next. I am gonna go with Casino Royale.
Yeah.
I really thoroughly enjoyed that movie. I've not watched a lot of 007 movies. It was long, a little too long, which is weird for me to say.
Yeah.
But overall, I think it was a very solid movie. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, this has actually been a really good month. I mean, obviously, you guys know what my score was 2 weeks ago with mine, but all the other ones are very substantial.
You wouldn't pick your own in this. If we could pick our own, you wouldn't pick it.
I gave it a 10.
I gave this movie a 10. He's gonna pick a Fantastic.
You're the nice guy here, Mason. You're the nice character.
Yeah, so-
no, he'd pick his. He'd pick his.
That means you're gonna help me out.
I'm gonna actually go with What We Do in the Shadows.
Oh God!
Because,
Damn
okay,
it.
so Tropic Thunder was funny, but like, I had too many qualms with that movie all in all.
The blackface was in very poor taste.
No, it was Little Stewart or whatever the hell his name was. Little Jimmy, what was his name?
The rapper or the
What?
the kid.
Mentally challenged kid.
Oh,
I hated
Simple
that.
Jack.
Simple
Oh,
Jack.
Simple Jack.
Hated that.
I'll see you in my head.
Anyways,
movies.
Casino Royale is definitely a close second. The problem with Casino Royale was it was long. It was like I said earlier in that review. It's like a Jason Bourne movie. It's like a transporter movie. It's all these movies. You know, the Bourne Ultimatum, all that. It's just, I don't know. It's all kind of the same, but it was very good for that series. So I'm gonna go with What We Do in the Shadows because it was a breath of different air.
I'm already laughing because I'm with certainty I know where Price is gonna land. But go ahead, Price.
I love
Go ahead and
this.
do it.
I love this. I need the boys to appeal to me. I am the tiebreaker here because I picked Tropic Thunder, of course.
I have
because
no
that's
chance.
yeah. You sit down. Sit down.
I had no idea what
But-
the situation was.
But honestly, I don't remember what my number scores were for Mr. Fox and Casino Royale, nor do I want them right now.
Okay.
Because both of these movies, like, I'm thinking about on top of my head, like, I honestly don't know. They are very, like, I'm not doing this to be difficult, like, neck and neck.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, I want you all to tell me which one I should pick, because I'm not being difficult. Like,
We all
both-
liked Casino Royale.
because both of these, like, were very good, in my opinion. Like, Casino Royale surprised me more, because I haven't watched many, I haven't watched many transporters or, like, hardcore, like, action movies. Like, John
Mission
Wick.
Impossible, John Wick.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a list.
See, like,
for
John
me
Wick's, like, the
personally.
only, like, real one. Like, I haven't watched many of those. And Fantastic Mr. Fox, like, I went in knowing, like, I was probably going to like this, and I wound up liking it quite a bit. Well, actually, I thought I might dislike it once I heard Wes Anderson was directing it.
So
And then it came back.
So even though I picked Casino Royale, I would say Fantastic Mr. Fox would be the one that you should pick because it surprised you due to the fact that
It
you
did.
probably anticipated Wes Anderson was going to give you a turd.
Yeah, I definitely was.
Big
Because
old poop.
I was purely gonna say he was gonna pick Mr. Fox just because it was animated over the two, and if he feels the
Ooh,
same,
I do like it
if he feels the same surprise from either movie, because he didn't really think that he was gonna get a lot out of Casino Royale, I think either.
Yeah,
but-
No,
The
I
thing
really
was, though,
did.
it was unanimously liked. Casino
Yeah.
Royale.
It really was.
Yeah.
And, like, I
Fantastic Mr.
audibly,
Fox.
I still remember whenever, like, that first action scene, the chasing scene, where that guy,
Free
like,
running.
did that, like, free run through there. Like, I audibly went, like, whoa. Like, that was pretty wild.
I think the budget was a little higher.
But after,
Smidge.
yeah, but after you all talking about it, I mean, I think I am. I feel Mr. Fox on this one because Casino Royale. Thinking about just a smidge more, I'm thinking like, yeah, that bomb scene. I remember you said it in your review. You were like,
Oh, the airport bomb
the
scene.
airport
goes on
bomb
for
scene,
way
like
long.
it went on too long.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't doing anything like extraordinary enough to merit that length. Like the free running scene almost
Sweet.
may have been longer, but like it felt more original.
Yeah.
Rather than your typical like good guy chasing bad guy, take him down before he kills a bunch of people.
Mhm.
You know, but man, that scene where they're actually playing poker, I don't understand a thing they're doing because I don't know how to play
villain-
poker.
Yeah, that villain was cool.
Oh,
Yeah,
Mads, oh,
Love Mads.
was so good because like he felt slightly sympathetic at the same time. He didn't feel like your typical like what I think typical Bond villain. Like man,
Right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
He
blow
had
up the
everything
world.
figured
Mustache
out.
curling, turning the chair around, betrayal kind of guy, right?
rubbing the cat.
Yeah.
Big old
exactly.
white fat
Austin.
cat.
Blofeld style,
Austin
right?
Cat, yeah.
Yeah. So Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Take it.
Well, that puts us in a weird position because for
Got
the
it.
first time ever, we have a buffet. Everybody got a bite of something. Everybody had one of each other's movies.
Except Tropic Thunder.
Hey, come on!
Did I do that on purpose, or did I really not notice? Fans, let me know in the comments.
I love that movie. It got like solid like 6.5s and stuff. Like it wasn't.
It was good, yeah.
This has been one of our best like rotations, especially this season.
No, this
definitely.
yeah.
Like across the
I agree.
board, we've like gotten good scores all around.
Yeah, but
Well, most of us have.
most.
I don't regret it. I didn't enjoy it.
But yeah, so Mason won. Mason won.
Wow,
Hooray.
really coming off with a banger. Mason, I'll help you out. Mason with the win.
Honestly, for that to be my 10 too, I'll take it. I mean, I couldn't
I was like
any
begging,
other
like
way.
beforehand, I was like, you pick movies, and like I know you like more movies. Like pick a 10. You haven't picked a 10 yet. Throw one down and see what happens, and we all unanimously really liked.
Nathan was okay with it,
Yeah, I was okay with it.
and Dylan was alright with it.
We like 7s across the board again.
I like it less
True.
by the minute as
But
the
they've all
conversation
been
goes on,
sevens.
actually.
Oh, I'll keep hyping it up, and Dylan will be like, I hate this movie.
Oh, real quick, while I got you on camera.
Uh-huh.
Isle of Dogs, Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Isle of Dogs all the way across the board.
Alright, we're done.
What?
Yeah.
What is this guy?
Isle of Dogs over it.
Speaking of which, end of the season.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
So,
It is.
this is
want
the
this back.
last of this season because,
People-
as with the previous season, we are changing to a new location.
New studio!
There
My
will
landlord's kicking
be
me out.
one more video that we will be filming here, and it is going to be our review of the season. Much like the last season wrap up, we're going to have a couple of different topics that we're going to discuss, pick our favorite movies, favorite scenes, favorite villains. I don't know exactly what questions we're going to do just yet. We haven't hashed that out. But also, after the end of that review, we might have a couple of ideas of maybe some changes that are going to be coming in the new season. So stay tuned for that.
And if you are watching, comment what you guys want to see us do. I mean, we've been doing movies that one of us will like, that we think that the other ones will like as well. But maybe that's getting stale. Tell us. I mean, if there are any ideas.
Maybe you want us all miserable and you just want to refer a movie that we're just all gonna hate. Say users pie crust 282 or something on
yeah.
YouTube. Like, oh man, this was a terrible
Maybe you
movie.
want some pies thrown. Maybe you want them all in Dylan's face. Maybe you want me to talk more. Maybe you want less of him.
Definitely
Let us
none of
know.
those suggestions. None of those guys. But make sure to thumbs up if you like everything that I'm talking about on this podcast.
Thumbs down if you don't like what he's talking about.
That's good. I'm gonna keep an eye out for the one thumbs down that Price comes out in this video for. See, I'm valid. All right.
I'm gonna get some Russian bots and just get like 1 million down. If they can influence an election, they can influence this podcast.
On that note, oh boy. Sorry, Price's mom. I know you're a big fan of the show.
Oh, I hope you're not watching. I've used swear words.
Swear. Hey,
Oh, no.
remember, guys, we're werewolves, not swearwolves. We don't use second language on this podcast. 3 out of 4 men think that line lands.
So good.
Anyway, guys, that's our show. Make sure to tune in next week for our whole season wrap up. We're going to do a whole bunch of crazy stuff, talk the best of, worst of, all those good things. We're figuring out all that content there, but
We're gonna do jumping jacks.
we won't do that. I always eat right beforehand, and I will vomit live on this camera. But otherwise, guys, make sure to tune in and subscribe to the channel if you like what we're doing. If you don't like what we're doing, subscribe anyway. Just hate watch us.
We
If you
want more hate watch.
yeah, we need more hate watchers, guys.
We do.
Make sure to tune in.
Not Weight Watchers.
Next week, no Weight Watchers. None of that, though. And we'll see you then, and we're just going to talk more about movies. All right,
That's
bye.
the plan.
All right, bye.
They just turned us off.
Yep, we're done.
You see
Cutting it
Mason
off.
just cutting the cord. Yeah.
End of the season.
Yeah.
End of this camera.
Into the camera.
No, new camera time. Need an excuse.